में है और जंग को कंट्रोल करे है।
Major General G.D. Bakshi is back with us. Major General G.D. Bakshi, you were talking about the aid that Pakistan, the military aid that Pakistan is giving to the Taliban as far as the fight in Panjshir is concerned to take on Ahmad Massoud's army. Taliban is actually using Pakistani weapons and Pakistani manpower as well. You were elaborating on it. Please go ahead.
Yes. What I'd like to tell you is the Taliban tried frontal assaults on the Panjshir Valley, got a bloody nose. Over 400 Talibani fighters are either killed or badly wounded are there. The whole Kabul hospital is overflowing with these fellows. You see, then they asked the Pakistani army to help them take Panjshir, right? And we are told that General Bajwa, they appealed to him to help them take Panjshir, get the head of Amarullah Saleh, and they would help them in the fight in Jammu and Kashmir. Now, the Pakistani army is directly leading the assault on Panjshir. Major General Adil Rahmani, SSG Group Commander, 2 of his battalions, SSG battalions, one led, as you said, by Usmani. They are leading the attack on the Panjshir Valley. The Taliban is in it, the Al-Qaeda is in it. A lot of Arab, Mujahideen have been killed, their bodies have been recovered. The whole operation, the attack is being supported by 4 UA Cobra attack helicopters, a battery of medium guns, a squadron of tanks, and APCs. So far, till yesterday, Pakistan had lost 1 officer, 1 JCO, 7 Jawans killed, 2 officers, 4 JCOs, and 11 were wounded. These are very heavy casualties for a small group like the SSG, which is supposed to fight by stealth. They are not good at mountain fighting. We know how good they are. They are taking up a plastering. Lieutenant General Syed Shamshad, Chief of General Staff of the Pakistan Army, is personally directing these operations from Rawalpindi GHQ, along with Major General Niman, the Director of Military Operations. All military operations and military intelligence directorate officers have been told not to leave GHQ Rawalpindi till this battle is over. Right? I want to just tell you one thing. As soldiers, we have very clearly studied the military history of the Panjshir Valley. It is a perfect death trap for any attacker. Narrow valleys, steep sides, the local Tajiks know every foot, every trail. The Pakistanis sought to overcome this advantage by drones. I hope you know that in GHQ Islamabad, General Bajwa is closely monitoring this so far unsuccessful battle along with Chinese and Turkish generals. The Turks, I understand, have given them 4 drones which are trying to look for gaps in the Taliban dispositions, in the Tajik dispositions, and trying to guide their troops through the gaps, because frontal attacks, they have bloodied their damn nose, right? Yes. And this is being monitored closely from the GHQ Islamabad. So far, there is no palpable success. There are only casualties. And 120 Talibani fighters, they were surrounded, they have surrendered. So much for the Talibani fighting skills. It is one thing to beat up defenseless women, whip them, stone them to death. It's another to fight a combat-hardened, gang of Tajiks who are fighting to defend their own home and hearth. Abhi, the Uzbeks haven't stepped into the fight, nor have the Hazaras. So I think there is trouble heading Pakistan's way. There is a drought in Afghanistan. People are short of food. Their total law and order, the governance has broken down. The banks have closed. The people there, the doctors, nurses, school teachers, college professors, bank staff have not been paid their salaries for the last 3-4 months. there is going to be greater and greater chaos. The Taliban are expert at putting IEDs and killing women and children. They are not into governance. They are refusing to take any technocrats. They are refusing to take any minorities, that is the Tajiks, Hazaras or Uzbeks in the government. They are saying nobody who in the last 20 years had served in the opposition can be part of this government. Matlab, it is going to be a pure Talibani government, and we know how good they are at governance. They can beat up the women very well. They are doing a good job of beating up the women. But this time the Afghan women are openly protesting. I mean,
Absolutely.
it is amazing to see the guts of those women. They are getting a fight for their life in Panjshir. Now, the thing is that the urban Afghans who are educated, there has been a brain drain. The bulk of them a large number of them has fled. The others are very upset and angry. They will get angrier as the chaos spreads. The anger will all be directed towards Taliban, as also the Pakistani ISI. The celebratory firing yesterday in Kabul, in which a number of civilians have been killed, was not for their so-called claimed victory over Panjshir. It was to celebrate the arrival of the Director General ISI of Pakistan.
Yes.
Look at the cost to the Afghan people in their stupid celebratory firing to welcome the DG ISI as a conqueror of their own country. The ISI has killed a number of civilians. So much about this Taliban and its fighting capabilities. The whole world will now see another tamasha. We saw the Americans cut and run. We will see another tamasha here, very likely. Because military assessment that we have done of the past patterns of fighting in Panjshir give us the very clear indication that the level of forces that the Pakistanis have put in, they seem to have put in their best. 2 SSG battalions with their SSG group commander himself leading the assault. This Janab Major General Adil Rahmani Sahab, their CGS is personally in control. Bajwa is closely monitoring. Now, I want to say one thing. The Americans accuse the Russians of helping the asymmetric warriors in Ukraine by sending in their army in civil clothes and have put massive economic sanctions against Russia. I'm sure the Americans are watching what the Pakistani army is doing. Amanullah Saleh is the vice president of Afghanistan. In the absence of Ghani, he is the acting president of Afghanistan, the duly elected government, which is still recognized by all the countries. The Taliban, firstly, is taken over by force in an unlawful manner. They still haven't been able to form a government because the Haqqani group is fighting with the Quetta Shura and so on and so forth. That is what DG ISI has gone, like a conquering hero, to tell them who will get what, portfolio. This is what the Pakistan army keeps doing. Imran Khan Saab is not an elected prime minister, he is a selected prime minister. Now Pakistan says it has freed Afghanistan and imposed its own murderous rule. I am very sure that the ISI, the Rawalpindi generals, will now tell the Taliban to get brutal. Because so far they were waiting for the world to recognize. They will tell them to get brutal, kill women, kill children and the rest of it, and then you will see the backlash. This is what they had done in Bangladesh, killed 3 million Bengalis, raped 1 billion women and pushed out 10 million as refugees. Refugees are already pouring out of Afghanistan. Anybody who has the modicum of education doesn't want to live in that hellhole being created by the Taliban. We have seen with our own eyes, people, Afghans, poor Afghans, clinging to the tires of C-17 aircraft, falling 10,000 feet from the skies and dying, but they just want to get the hell out of a hellhole called Afghanistan as it has been created by Pakistan.
Yes.
Freedom Have you seen the fear on the faces of the Afghans? There has been a brain drain. Every single educated Afghan wants out. Have you heard those poor women crying?
Yes.
Save the women of Afghanistan from these rabid dogs whose sole claim to military prowess is to beat up defenseless women. Look at the way they are getting a hiding from the Tajiks, real fighters. This is what
Absolutely,
happens
Major
when you
General
have
G.D.
to launch
Bakshi, and these are the
assault.
videos
And
that
they
we're
say
also
they
seeing.
will take on in J&K. Don't joke. Don't joke.
Yes, Major General G.D. Bakshi, you've made some very important points and enlightened to us about Pakistan's role. And this is what we're also showing on our screens right now, Major General G.D. Bakshi, of how there have been heavy casualties on Taliban as well as Pakistan fighters in this fight in the Panjshir Valley. Thank you very much, Major General G.D. Bakshi, for joining us on the biggest story tonight and giving us all this information on how Pakistan is waging a sort of a proxy war in Afghanistan. Thank you very much. And with that, we're heading into a short break right now. After the break, we'll get you details